Pathophysiology, prepared by Susan Samur and others. Let's read the introduction. What's pathophysiology? Pathophysiology deals with the dynamic aspects of disease processes. It is the study of disordered or altered functions, the physiologic mechanisms altered by disease in the living organism. Pathophysiology provides the basic link between the scientific realm of anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry and its application to clinical practice. Most people have notion of normal and would define disease or illness as a deviation from or an absence of that normal state. Concepts of disease. Disease can be defined as changes in individuals that cause their health parameters to fall outside the range of normal. Thus, the maintenance of internal conditions within fairly narrow limits is an essential feature of the normal body. This definition, like so many for disease, is based on a statistical deviation, often based on the distance of a test value from the so-called normal range. Etiology. A description of the cause of a disease includes the identification of those factors that provoke the particular disease. Pathogenesis. Pathogenesis of a disease refers to the development of evolution of the disease. Manifestations. Many diseases have a subclinical stage during which the patient functions normally even though the disease processes are well established. The structure and function of many organs provide a large reserve or safety margin, and functional impairment may become evident only when the disease has become quite evident. Extrinsic and intrinsic factors in disease. Extrinsic factors. Some important causes of human disease include infectious agents, mechanical traumas, toxic chemicals, radiation, extremes of temperature, nutritional problems, and psychological stress. Intrinsic factors. Many characteristics of the individual are intrinsic factors in disease since they have a significant impact on the evolution of various conditions, age, gender, and even abnormality. Notice this figure shows the differences between health and disease. Notice health, normal cell, adapted cell, compensatory mechanism, cell remains intact, and disease, injured or diseased cell, dead cell, pathophysiologic mechanisms, loss of cell integrity. Stress as a response. Stress is the non-specific response of the body to any kind of demand made upon it. Focuses on reactions rather than events or individual differences. Stressors are the events or environmental agents responsible for initiating the stress response. According to Seeley, stressor can be 1. Physiological, for instance, chemical agents, for instance, drugs, poisons, toxin, and physical agents, for instance, heat, cold, radiation, electric shock, trauma, infectious agents, for instance, viruses, bacteria, fungi, faulty immune system, genetic disorder, nutrition imbalance. Psychological. Sol's view of the non-specific response, 1. A response to any demand made on the body, also known as a stressor. Occurs regardless of the cause, situation, or psychological interpretation of the stressor, characterized by the same predictable chain or pattern of physiologic events called the General Adaptation Syndrome, JAS, stress. The JAS results in release of certain adaptive hormones and subsequent changes in the structure and chemical composition of the body. Cell response to stress was a process that enabled the body resist the stressor in the best possible way by enhancing the function of the system best able to respond to it. GS, General Adaptation Syndrome, Stage 1 Alarm Reaction. Initial response of the body to a stressor, divided into two bars. 1. Shock phase. Stressor is perceived by the person either consciously or unconsciously. Autonomic nervous system ANS react, readies the person for fight or flight, lasts from 1 minute to 24 hours. Counter shock phase, a reversal of bodily changes produced in shock phase. Stage 2, stage of resistance SR, body attempts to adapt to the stressor. Complete reversal of bodily changes produced in stage 1, institution of coping and adaptive mechanisms, confinement of stress to the smallest area possible, local adaptation syndrome LS, for instance inflammation. Stage 3, stage of exogenous CA. Coping and adaptive mechanisms are exhausted. Two possibilities. Body may rest and immobilize its defenses to return to normal. Body may reach total exhaustion and die. The stress response. She proposed that two factors determine the nature of the stress response. The one, properties of the stressor, to the conditioning of the person being stressed. Must stressor produce both? One, specific and non-specific responses. Non-specific response, the non-specific demand for adjustment to a new situation can be similar. Specific stress responses alter person to the presence of the stressor, whereas the non-specific effects, which involve neuroendocrine responses such as increased autonomic nervous system activity, are designed to maintain or re-establish normality and are independent of specific responses. Conditioning factor. The ability of the same stressor to produce different responses and disorders in different people indicates the adaptive capacity of the person. Conditioning factors may be internal, genetic, predisposition, age, sex, or other, or external exposure to environmental agents, treatment with certain drugs or dietary factors. Stress consequences. Physiologically can threaten a person's physiologic homeostasis. Emotionally can produce negative or unconstructive feelings about the self. Intellectually influence a person's perceptual and problem-solving abilities. Socially can alter persons' relationships with others. Spiritually can challenge one's beliefs and values. Many illnesses have been linked to stress. For instance, skin disorders, eczema, urticaria, psoriasis, metabolic disorders, hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, diabetes, respiratory disorders, asthma, hay fever, tuberculosis. Cardiovascular disorders such as coronary artery disease, hypertension, congestive heart failure, gastrointestinal disorders, constipation, diarrhea, anorexia nervosa, obesity, ulcerative colitis, menstrual irregularities, musculoskeletal disorders, rheumatoid arthritis, low back pain, migraine headache, muscle tension, cancer, accident prone.